Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Focus TV. We're so happy to be with you guys tonight. Got a special guest. Got Octavia Wyatt here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, and Dylan Edwards. On tonight's show, obviously we're going to talk to Dylan. Going to get you guys caught up on the playoffs on both the men's and women's side of things. Going to talk to Octavia about the NFC East. The 9-4-50 breakdown. Excuse me. Pitch recap.
You don't have to laugh every time you say it.
Look, I have to find joy somewhere because literally,
I will
take my roof for.
You right.
Thank you. I'm just saying.
You right.
Like it was literally like y'all remember Tecmo Bowl back in the day when the ambulance was in the field. So like, let me live, Octavia. I'm sorry. In return, in 2 weeks, look, in 2 weeks, I will also hold my pettiness in 2 weeks, regardless of the outcome. I will be an adult.
I don't believe that, but okay.
I'm gonna do my best. Like, look, it's here, it's all right. So we'll see what happens. As of right now, I will try to do my best. But as we said, we're joined tonight, special guest. We got Dylan Edwards of St. Andrews in the District Basketball Club. So Dylan, once again, welcome to the Focus TV.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. All right, so I'm going to kick things off. With the pandemic and how it's affected so many things, especially the sports calendar. Regardless of the sports you play, it is not a regular year. With that in mind, has it changed your mindset at all in terms of when you have had the opportunity to go out and compete, knowing that it's not a regular year?
It made me realize how valuable time is. If I had known last year playing a full year at AU basketball, I would have cherished every moment. I would have went hard at every game. I would have cherished that time in hotels I had with the guys. And ultimately, it motivated me to work hard because it made me realize my last year was my last go around with my guys. And now I'm done with AAU. I'm a basketball alumni. And same, I feel like I was just in that grade.
I'd save you to pass it along to you.
Yeah, life comes at you fast. So what kind of piggybacking off of what Wilson said, with the pandemic and going on and everything, do you feel like the time has at least helped you, progressing your game? And if so, are there anything you were specifically working on?
I want to be ready. My senior year, my goal was to have a college-ready body. I'm not there yet, but it's coming. I was fortunate enough to get back in the gym and go out mid-June with Kyle Jacoby's flip performance. And he's taking my game athletically to the next level. I gained strength-wise, like I'm a totally different player than I was at the end of last season. So, that's what I've been working on and preparing to be a leader this year. I'm the senior point guard at St. Andrews, and we have a young team, so I got to be ready for people.
Sure.
Right.
Did you have another one, Octavia?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. I know Cardell probably get into a little bit more detail, but just kind of talk about your experience in the I95 Coalition League. That was a nice event they put together down there in Virginia.
It was against the best in the DMV. My team, the district, we struggled at the beginning because we didn't have time. We didn't have a lot of time. It wasn't hard due to COVID. But I feel like we struggled the first 3 or 4 games. Then we bounced back and won our last 4 or 5 games. And we made a pretty good run in the playoffs. It was the best experience with any AAU team I've ever had in my life. Others, if I could put that jersey on one more time, I would.
Cardell?
All right, and
Oh, sorry, Ray. Go ahead, Ray.
now you I just had one more. You guys coming off a conference championship. Like, what's the difference in your approach to this season? Now being that you guys are the top dog in the MAC.
I think our team is going to come with the same mindset we had last year. Just because we won the championship, right? Just as hungry as we were last year. We won the 2-peat. So when we're allowed to get in the gym, we're going to come in the gym with the mindset that we're going back to back. That's what's expected of us this year. I mean, we have a talented team, and I feel like we can do it for sure.
All right, Dylan. I know you touched on the team's improvement throughout the I95 Coalition League, but how did you feel you improved individually throughout the event?
I felt like my progression as a leader, I stepped up as a leader. Ryan Cornish, after he committed and he stopped playing with us midway, so it just boosted me. I already had a good role on the team, but it boosted me to a big role where I had to be vocal and I just had to do more on the floor, offensively and defensively.
Got you. Fun question. Who was your toughest matchup at the event?
My toughest matchup. This team was, we didn't play them in the event. It was probably Jalen Worley. We played them. That was our first game of the year. He was 6'7", I'm 6'2", so I mean there was an obvious difference. But I competed against them. We competed against Durant, and we gave them a good shot. And we should have won the game, to be honest.
Got you, man. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. Growing up the son of a former player and longtime coach in the DMV area, with Mark Edwards, how did it positively help your growth as a player?
Well, I had a first-hand resource. He played my position, so everything around the house, everything that happens, he compares it to basketball in some way. That's just who he is. But I mean, it's been a blessing. After school, after practices, going in the gym to get up shots, helping me break down plays, going through film with me, and just being a leader. I mean, I'm a quiet guy, and he's the same way. So he just told me that I had to be vocal to be a leader, especially in high school. I can't just lead by example anymore. I got to use my voice.
Understood, man. What about the other side of that? Because it helps you, it's a benefit, but it's a tough thing to be the son of a coach because the expectation to perform game in and game out is so high. Then when you have success, people going to question it. Sometimes your peers, sometimes other people going to look at it like all your success is due to who your father is. Talk about how tough it was dealing with those expectations and underlying criticism from when you had success.
It was just he framed my mind. Like he stays out of a lot of stuff. When he comes into games, he goes and he sits down away from people. So I mean, it doesn't really get to me when people say that, because I mean he contributed to my success, but when I'm on the court, it's me playing, and I contribute a lot of that to him. But he knows that everything I do on the court, I mean it's me. He helped me get to that point, but so I think I wouldn't be today where I am today without my father. But yeah.
All right, I know you touched on St. Andrews a little bit with Raymond, but with y'all going 24-4 last year, capturing the MAC regular season and tournament championship, just talk about that whole experience, because not a lot of players get to experience championship level play throughout their high school career.
The one thing I remember from that day was the environment. I mean, the gym, it was crazy. It's probably the craziest gym I ever played in. I was nervous, man. That's the most nervous I've ever been playing in a basketball game. But it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. A lot of people can say they won a championship in high school, and I can say it. And I feel like hopefully we get to that point again this year. I firmly believe we can get to that point. Since we've had guys that have been in that high pressure situation before, we won't struggle at all. We'll be prepared for it.
Got you. Now, y'all took a big loss in the offseason, 6'8" All-MAC selection, Benny Williams, who's ranked 51st in the country, and committed to Syracuse. He transferred to IMG back in June. It's a big loss even when you lose a talented player like that. But you're coming back as a senior leader. What do you feel must be done for you guys to be back in a position to repeat? Because, every team is coming for y'all. Y'all will be the hunter every game, if the season is a go this winter.
I just feel like we got to come in with the same intensity that we had last year, like that we're the underdogs that we were last year. At the beginning of the season, I think it was Prep Hoops, they came out with a ranking, and we were pretty low on that ranking, and one of our goals was like, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to work. I mean, we felt like with the talent we had and all the guys that were returning that our ranking should be higher. So, I mean, part of our culture at St. Andrews is we're going to work. Regardless of who we have, we're going to work. And that's what's contributing to success in the program today.
No doubt, no skipping the grind. My last question for you, for college programs who are watching, interested in you, explain what you would bring to their respective program on and off the court.
I feel like on the court, you will get an extension of the coach on the floor. I know how to score. I'm a scoring guard, but I can score without getting in the way of the offense. My points, they usually come within the offense. That's one of my favorite things about my game, that I can score within the offense. I don't have to break off plays or go one-on-one. It just comes in the flow of the game. And usually we're getting a good kid. I'm a nice kid. Not so much when I'm on the court, but off the court, I'm a down-to-earth guy, and that's what a college is giving me. I'm just looking for and I'm confident eventually.
Cool. How are you, Wilson?
All right. Ray or Octavia, you guys have any follow-up questions?
No follow-up for me.
All right. I just had a fun question before you leave. Dylan, just got to ask you, we're down to the last four in the NBA bubble. Who you got in the first, hopefully the first and only bubble championship? I hope this is not a
They're playing on too high of a level right now.
You said Miami? You want to make sure?
Lakers.
Okay, I got you. Well, Dylan, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us tonight, man. Wish you continued success. I'm sure we'll get updates via Cardell on your any changes in your future. You have a great night, and everyone, we got a lot more show to go. We're gonna take our first break. You're watching the Focus TV, and we'll be right back. Again, Dylan Edwards, St. Andrews, and the District Basketball Club. See you guys in just a little bit. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Want to thank everybody that joined us for the first portion of our show with Dylan Edwards. Enjoyed speaking with the young man, Cardell, as always, getting some great information. Look, so like I said about the bubble thing, and I really do hope this is the only bubble championships we have. I don't want any more of this stuff. Hearing with college basketball, that might be a thing there too. I need this to be literally a 2020, 2021 season thing, period, in sports. I don't wish to do these bubble things anymore. Great technology is allowing people to do it, but the virtual coverage is hurting.
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't even like computers no more. I don't even like computers. I'm being real. I'm tired of computers.
Like it's so hard sometimes. You sit down and you even when you want to ask a question, your initial thing is to speak up, and you got to stop. Make sure that the part of the chat's open so you can raise your hand, and then then it's just Russian roulette, waiting to see if your question gets answered before you get called on. So fun times, all right, folks. Fun times. All right, with the NBA, we'll talk a little NBA and WNBA in just a little bit. But Octavia, where do you want to start? The NFL's been so much fun. We can start at your division, I guess. We start with your team.
Sure, just get it over with. At this point, So, yes, it was another wild weekend in the NFC East. My Eagles played the Rams and took a very big L. They are now 0-2. They lost to the Rams 37-19. Carson Wentz was 26 of 43, 242 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 carries for 7 yards and 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders had 20 carries for 95 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 receptions for 36 yards, and he also had a fumble. Deshaun Jackson was the leading receiver with 6 receptions for 64 yards. Again, the one thing that I can applaud is the offensive line did 1,000 times better, especially when you have the likes of Aaron Donald on the other side of the line. Magically, there were no sacks for Carson this week. It was great to see Lane Johnson back. Although we did also lose Isaac Siamalu. We'll have to check in to see how bad of an injury that was. And again, we will have to do some shifting to figure it out. But besides that was like the biggest bright spot for me as far as our offensive line. It was nice to see Miles get going, even though he did have the early fumble on the initial drive of the game, first possession of the game. But, I say this with a grain of salt because, again, I hate giving excuses, but you really start to see now how important preseason is on so many different levels across the entire NFL. Whether it be, getting into rhythm with your quarterback, learning a playbook. And as you can see, which I'll touch on briefly, as far as all the injuries that are happening, so as much as they fought for us not to have it, and although I understand it as far as the health precautions, I'm sure a lot of teams are wishing we did have some preseason at this point. Again, Winston's just been bad. It seems like he's trying to prove a point. I feel like he's really trying to push the envelope on so many different things I feel like in his head, prove that he is a top tier caliber football player, quarterback in the league, and dispel all of the rumors and things. A lot of his passes were inaccurate, either too far ahead, throwing the ball behind. But again, I do still kind of contribute some of that to offseason, no preseason, not a lot of reps with everything. So as he says, the sky's not falling yet. I feel like the sky's falling because I can't take it when they lose. It's just too much for me. But hopefully they get on track. If we lose next week, I will not be here because if we lose to the Bengals, I don't know what I'm really going to do. Okay, so giving you guys fair warning. Let's move on to we'll go to the biggest surprise. I won't say biggest surprise, but how the game flowed, biggest surprise. Cowboys versus the Falcons. Cowboys were victorious, 40-39. Dak Prescott was 34 of 47, 450 yards for 1 touchdown throwing, 5 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns. Elliott had 22 carries, 89 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 receptions for 33 yards. CeeDee Lamb had 6 receptions for 106 yards and 1 carry for 9 yards. And Cooper had 6 receptions for 100 yards. It was an awful, 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 awful start for them. I've never seen so many turnovers in the first quarter ever, probably. you can just see how much they weren't in sync. And just like I said for the Eagles, I still feel like it's the same for multiple teams across the league, including the Cowboys. That offseason, you know, as long as offseason was and not having preseason games, it's hard for these teams to get on track. I do also attribute this win for the Cowboys slightly to the fact that the Falcons just kind of crumbled. You know, they were up 20-0, and I think this was probably the only onside kick recovered in like the last 2 years, maybe. I might be stressing it, but you know, everybody's standing around looking like who's going to touch the ball first. You know, it was just crazy, but you got to give props to the Cowboys for sticking in it. You know, they didn't have personnel as well. We know with the injuries they had last week, I can't even think. Tyron Smith was out with a neck injury from the offensive line, so it was tough for them too. But they got the win. You know, that's all that matters at the end of the day. I'm sure they're walking away happy with, you know, at least grinding out a win, and it could possibly boost their morale going forward. You know, they have a very big game coming up next week. They're playing against Seattle, and Seattle is kind of clicking on all cylinders. Russell's having a great start to his season as well. So it's definitely going to be hopefully it's a good game, you know, next week. Hopefully the Cowboys got all of that stuff out of their system for the sake of you Cowboys fans, not for me. But, you know, we'll see how that goes for them. Again, like I said, they'll play the Seahawks next week. We'll go to the Giants versus the Bears. The Giants did fall to the Bears 13-17. Daniel Jones was 25 of 40, 241 yards, 1 interception, 3 carries for 21 yards and 1 fumble. Saquon Barkley had 4 carries for 28 yards. Dion Lewis had 10 carries for 20 yards and 1 touchdown. And Evan Ingram recorded 6 receptions for 65 yards. Biggest takeaway from this game, Saquon Barkley is out for the remainder of the season with a torn ACL, which is a blow to them completely. In the aspect that is their best player. I feel like anybody outside of a Giants fan understood that this season wasn't going to be a slam dunk or a great season for them. It's been a struggle for them the last 10 seasons, it seems like. The team has now started 0-2 for the 7th time in the last 8 seasons. They didn't have good run defense. I felt like David Montgomery for the Bears was able to do basically whatever he wanted to do. With the news of Saquon being out for the remainder of the years, it's been reported that Devonta Freeman, who used to play for the Falcons, will be signing with them. I don't think they've officially said it, but he did work out for them, and it's said to be like that's basically what's going to happen next. Some positives for the Giants. I do like James Bradbury, you know, the cornerback. He accounted for 2 of their interceptions. You know, he deflected a ball where it was intercepted by one of his counterparts, and then he actually intercepted one as well. But it's kind of the same for me again. You know, Daniel Jones kind of makes bad decisions at points. It's not really looking that great for them. As like I said, I don't think a lot of people thought they would. And next week they play the 49ers, although 49ers are very depleted at this time. I still can't see them losing to the Giants, but I feel like the Giants probably feel like they have a better chance. But we shall see as that happens next week. And the 49ers will be right back in the same stadium that they played in this past weekend. And last but not least, your Washington football team, said that right this time, played the Cardinals. And they lost to the Cardinals 30-15. Dwayne Haskins was 19 of 33, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 carry for 8 yards, and 1 fumble. Gibson had 13 carries, 55 yards for 1 touchdown. J.D. McKissick also had 8 carries for 53 yards. And McLaurin, 7 receptions, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. I feel like McLaurin is their bright spot. You know, I feel like he is their number one. He's the one that's getting all the attention. He's the one that's going to get followed around, and he's been producing as much as he possibly can. The Achilles heel for them this week, in my opinion, was their secondary. There was so many breakdowns, you know, although Landon Collins got a pick, but, you know, as a play they just showed, the breakdown where the one person you should never lose sight of, they lost sight of, which was Hopkins, who had an easy score there. Their offensive line is still a little bit shaky as well. I feel like Haskins has to have better decision making as well, of knowing to get rid of the ball. You know, that one pivotal play where it took them out of field goal range. There's a lot of things that they have to fix as well there. And they just couldn't consistently cover, you know, in the secondary, in my opinion. They just weren't able to contain the Cardinals' passing attack the entire game. Although, like I said, they have flashes with Landon Collins, but I just feel like they need to be more consistent. And then, you know, talking about injuries in the offensive line, Brandon Sheriff also went down on the field. So that's another position that they're going to have to possibly fill with what's going on. So it's tough for them, you know, and it doesn't get any easier as time goes on. But, you know, they do play the Browns next week. The Browns looked good this past week, but again, it was against the Bengals. We'll have to see. I think next week will be a good game, you know, if they're able to play like they played when they played us, honestly. Chase Young, I just feel like he is a top tier caliber player, and I'm actually excited to see him play. I feel like he's one of the brighter spots for the Redskins Washington football team as well. But yeah, it's a crazy time to be in the NFC East, as always. And like I said, I just wanted to touch on, there were so many injuries this past week to top tier guys. Saquon Barkley out with the ACL, McCaffrey out 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Nick Bosa for the 49ers ACL tear. I believe Garoppolo got hurt. It's just like, it's everywhere, and it's crazy that this many people, you know, have been injured so soon. And a lot of it is season ending, although there are some players that have been put on IR, and IR has been restricted this year, where they are required to only miss at least 3 games. So there's a chance that they come back. You know, even, you know, the Broncos, you know, Locke got hurt. I believe somebody else got hurt.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm giving it for everybody. I think it was Cortland. It's tough. It's tough all the way around for everybody. Like, you know, so
Blake Bortles.
Man.
Yeah, you guys signed Blake Bortles. You know, it's tough on here. It's real tough for all teams involved, and I hope it doesn't continue with the week coming up. But a lot of players that may have been cut in the preseason or the off season, since there was no preseason, they may want to keep their phones on, stay kind of work out. A lot of people are being called up for practice squads. The Colts have been decimated. Like I said, the 49ers have been decimated. You know, like the Cowboys lost people. It's everywhere. So these athletic trainers and their staff are going to have to work overtime, you know, these next couple of weeks to try to keep people healthy. And I wanted to point out one last thing, because I didn't talk about it when I talked about the Eagles game. Nate Sudfeld was not active this week.
Be available for a trade.
Jalen Hurts was the number 2 this week, and we did see him actually get in the game, although it just confused the heck out of me. I guess he's out there you're right. Hey, I understand
that. That's the problem. Is he available? I'm just saying, we'll trade Bortles for him. Y'all straight up.
He was available last week and we lost, so it's not him. At this point,
he ain't getting the game.
Trust me.
He
never gets in the game. At this point, you can have him. If I was a GM, take him, please. But you know, I digress.
My man out here lobbying for Nate.
It's a little rough.
Hey, life does come at you fast.
We don't really know what Nate could do, man. Bortles, how many years has he had? You know exactly what he is. It might be some hope. I don't know, man. He might come there, going to Tim Tebow magical run. Hey, it's some unknown there. Potential.
Hey.
My guy no potential with it.
He went from memeing Sudfield to what's his upside.
Come on, man.
Hey, but now seriously, like this injury thing, this injury thing. I wish everyone that's fan of a team, I hope that, I think a lot of front offices and GMs, you're about to find out what people are really about, because with people falling, your depth on your team, if you're a little top heavy, I wish you the best this year, because one piece, everything goes left. Everything goes left.
You see football people
Also,
lose bread.
you said what?
Fantasy football people about to lose a lot of bread. It's sick out here.
I mean, I had the first pick for the first time ever in my draft, and I drafted McCaffrey. Luckily, he's only out 3 to 4 weeks. It's not season ending like Saquon, but come on, man. Like, what? And I mean, Wilson, you were right about McKinnon. I kept him, and it's like, now y'all gonna need him. So hopefully McKinnon can step up for me in a crunch.
Funny how that works, huh? I hope he shows out in 2 weeks. I hope out in 2 weeks. Like, I hope.
Well, no, I don't know about 2 weeks.
Nah, 2 weeks.
Like,
I need him to put up 100 on the ground and in the air in 2 weeks.
See, this is the thing, right? When I play fantasy and whoever's on my team, if they playing against my team, like, I can't really play them because it's just too hard. Like,
but you don't have a choice this year.
But see,
you don't have a choice.
But see, this is the thing. I did.
Gotta take the feelings out of fantasy football, man.
I can't though. But I did play Tyler Higbee this week, and it sucked for me as a fan, but it was great for me in fantasy. He had 3 scores, so, and I had Robert Woods, and he scored 2, so that was just tough.
Also, before we move on from the NFL, just to be petty, just speak for everybody on this program. I remember a little while ago, when New England signed a certain quarterback and people was talking real wild and everything else. Sunday night, we watched two quarterbacks who should have MVPs. One of them already had one. Russ better get his this year. He keeps this up. It's a shame he hasn't had one before, but he's acting a fool. That was a fun game to watch. That was a
got him too.
Watch. And it's just really interesting to me because it's like last year I heard there were just no skill position players in New England. Like, oh my gosh, there was just no talent outside. No one you can throw to. N'Keal Harry was a bust. Julian Edelman only runs 5 to 6 yards routes. Dude had a career high on Sunday night, going vertical. It's like if you take somebody who don't got it, got a wet noodle as an arm, you can do things. It's just really interesting. Like, it's just really wild, man. Again, it's only 2 weeks, but I heard a lot of things about those skill position players, and they through 2 weeks look fine. And then, another quote that I haven't heard a quarterback from there say in the last year, there was actually like someone asked, "Oh, do you guys need to look elsewhere for a wide receiver help?" The new quarterback said the answer's in the room. We're good. We're good with what we have. So just something to keep an eye on going forward. Very interesting. But me being petty, I'm going to keep an eye on this every year. Might get a little Cam Watch graphic.
That's a good
just to see what's going on.
But just to throw out one last thing.
In 2 weeks. Do y'all need the top of the show, y'all too?
No, I don't. Everyone's talking about the all here. Nope. I'm not even bragging.
I'm just saying, how long on that 8:15? Let y'all go at it. Laugh.
About what? Hold on. About what? What is it to go?
I'm not saying anything.
It's gonna be competitive, right?
I don't care. I just want health. I don't care if we win 6-3. I just want health. I don't want anything else. Like, in 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, that schedule goes from the NFC least to real football teams. I would like my team to be before.
Yeah, we are the least of y'all problems.
Like, we just had a run of what?
The least of y'all problems.
Who we just played? We got the Jets, Giants, Eagles, Dolphins all in a row. I just need accidental wins. I don't care if it's all field goals and health. I don't care. Just health. I would like to be healthy week 7.
For Russ and the Cardinals.
Yeah, because we got one more game with Mighty Mouse, and then we got 2 games with Russ, which scares the you-know-what out of me. So I would like health. I would like it a lot. It would be nice. But all right, we got the 9-4-50
and
breakdown. Oh, go ahead, Octavia. I'm
can I
sorry.
say one more thing? Just because the
Yes.
report just got confirmed that Devonta Freeman is signing with the Giants. He got signed for a 1 year, $3 million deal. He could play as soon as Sunday. It just literally popped up on my phone, so just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm sure he'll be there Sunday. I'm sure. I think what's it called? Ziggy Ansah got signed today. He's in the Bay, so he waited the last 3 weeks, and it worked out for him because something catastrophic happened, and now he could get $3 million instead of the vet minimum he was offered the last 2 weeks. So, yeah. So someone's probably gonna end up signing Clay Matthews if somebody else gets hurt at some point in time. So, folks like that, the vets.
That's a good point.
This is one of those years where, depending on how these injuries go, man, people are gonna end up. It's not a bad year. It's just just like Octavia said, be by your phone. But Jamal Hayward in the 9-4-50 breakdown. Again, shout out to him for being so consistent each and every week. This week he is demoing a breakdown of side steps and step backs. A breakdown of side steps and step backs. That's followed by our second break. When we get back, we got some NBA, WNBA, Pitts League recap, and a little bit of rapid fire. So we'll see you guys in just a bit.
We're going to break down the difference of a side step and a step back. So if I start with my right hand, I'm going to do a side step right now. 2 pound step, okay? Or that's a side step. Step back, okay? Same thing with my left hand. Side step. Side step. Step back. So now, let's just say I make a dribble move from here, okay? Here, side step, okay? Here, step back. As you can see the difference, I'm pushing off the left foot for both, but I'm stepping to the side, pushing to the side on the side step. When I push off this left foot, step back, get square. When you come to your right side, you really have to square your shoulders and your hips. Going to the left, step to the side. We're going to break down the difference of a side step and a step back. So, if I start with my right hand, I'm going to do a side step right now. 2 pound step, okay? Or that's a side step. Step back, okay? Same thing with my left hand. Side step. Side step. Step back. So now, let's just say I make a dribble move from here, okay? Here, side step, okay? Here, step back. As you can see the difference, I'm pushing off the left foot for both, but I'm stepping to the side, pushing to the side on the side step. When I push off this left foot, step back, get square. When you come to your right side, you really have to square your shoulders and your hips. Going to the left, step to the side.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Again, thank you so much to Jamal Hayward for the 9-4-50 breakdown yet again. All right, so we're going to give you guys a little update. NBA, WNBA playoffs in the thick of things already. Anthony Davis game winner gave LA a 2-0 lead. Cardell, Ray, and I, we talked already a little bit about this with the recaps we do after games. Octavia, going to take a moment just to get your thoughts on it. On the Lakers going up 2-0. What do you think of game 2 in that series?
Game series is over. There's not much to say. Series is over. Lakers are gonna win. It pains me to say it. but it is AD's going to win MVP. I don't think LeBron will. It's just crazy. Like, how I don't know how Denver let that happen. Like, it was it was right there, but AD has elevated his play and it's showing, and I think they get out of this series pretty quick unless some type of this magic that Denver has had these last two series comes back, but I don't see it at this point. I'd be surprised if Denver gets a win at this point. I thought they could at least pull out one, but they played a good game. They stayed in it this whole time, that whole game, and to lose like that has got to be demoralizing. Hopefully they are able to at least put it behind them and come back, with a clean slate when they play tonight, but it's tough. I just don't see it. That's basically it.
All right. Over on the east side of things, Miami took that two-game lead. It was 2-0. Then Boston bounced back with the big game. So Boston's on the board now. It's 2-1. Where do you think this series is going?
Boston should be up 3-0 at this point. They blew their first two leads in both games, and every game that they played looks identical. They get up early and then they fall off in the third quarter, and that's when the Heat, turns it up and turns it on. They have to stop Duncan Robinson because he's basically automatic. Tyler Hero's been playing automatic. Butler had a bad game in game 3. I don't suspect that'll happen again. So they got to be on it from start to finish. Like, I feel like they take plays off. Like, I feel like they get comfortable when they get up by leads, and they can't do that. Like, his name is Jimmy Buckets for a reason. Like I said, everybody has a bad game. Everybody has an off game. But I think the Celtics can come back from this. I'm pulling for the Celtics personally. I thought that was my choice before the season, the series started. With Gordon now getting a little bit more time to practice because, he just came out of quarantine, and then he just, basically was jumped right into the game. He didn't have any off time to practice with them to kind of get back in a rhythm. They played on Saturday, so they've had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. They'll play tomorrow. So he's had some good time to get back in rhythm. There's all their starters scored over 20 points, outside of Hayward that game. So they're capable of doing it, but are they capable of sustaining it for an entire game is the thing, with Jimmy getting off, because Jimmy didn't get off in the game 3 and they were able to sustain it, but I don't suspect that's going to happen again. So are they going to be able to play a complete game from start to finish? We'll have to wait and see. I think they have a great core. Like, that's what I say, like, Celtics is a good team. So, but so are the Heat, and you can see they don't give up at all. So it's going to be a great series. This is the series to watch right now.
All right. On the WNBA side of things, there wasn't a game 1 of the Storm Link series because of a COVID test. So that game 1 is tonight at 9 right now. The game is game 2 of the Connecticut Sun Las Vegas Aces series is going on literally at this moment. It's tied at 69 with less than 4:50 left in the fourth quarter. And again, followed by the Storm Link series. That's tonight at 9 too. So a lot of basketball to watch tonight. Quick Pitch League recap. Core beat Team Pressure 63-56. Glenn Andrews and Dele Ojo led the way for Core with 17 points apiece. Elijah Maynard and Magnus Richards with 14 apiece for Team Pressure. Sniper Gang beat Team Anonymous 60-56 in a close one. Man, Kyra Proctor with 29 for Sniper Gang to lead her team to victory. We had JNR's Mob. They destroyed Rome Reloaded. It was 64-34. Aiko Adams with 21. Randy Gill also had 21. T. Johnson led the way for Rome Reloaded with 17. Bird Gang took care of Running Gun. That was a fun game. It was 53-41. Shania Johnson led the way for Bird Gang with 18. Kiana Tate had 12. And then Akila Bethel led the way for Running Gun with 14 points. And then EJ Ajembo had 12 for Running Gun as well. Black Angels beat the Jewels 75-41. Danielle Forrest with 21. Vanessa Rice had 17 to lead the Jewels. All right, Cardell, You know, that time of the show. Rapid fire. What you got for us this week, sir? Yay.
I need y'all to answer this. I don't even want to answer. Broncos side, Blake Bortles. Why? Y'all answer this.
What are their other options?
I need some understanding.
I need to know what the other options are.
Elway is too back
I
up.
don't
Return
know.
like Jordan with 45. Let's go. He's still better.
Hey, he probably is.
Ain't no probably. All right, man. I got it off. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how dude keeps getting jobs because he's horrible. I don't get it.
I don't know how a certain dude keeps his job because he's on
That
equally
too.
as horrible. Shout out Peyton
kinda like
Manning.
the same-
You know what I'm saying? I miss you guys. No flies. I miss you guys, man. It was a great few years. I was kicking my feet up. W. It was like Peyton Manning falling on BO. I'm like, looking back, I'm like, shit. He was doing something, man. It is what it is, man.
You'll take that right now, huh?
Yeah, an RB. Moving on to Steve Nash, new Brooklyn Nets head coach. On the podcast, JJ Redick's podcast, The Old Man and the Three. He's talking about the roster, how he loves the versatility of it. And one, Kevin Durant came up. And he said one that raised eyebrows, not to me, but to a lot of people. He said, I plan to use him at all 5 positions. He said, Kevin, with his length, is a matchup problem for everyone. Kevin can play all 5 positions, and I plan to use him in all 5 positions. Just what are your thoughts on him about to just kind of continue with Golden State starting and let Kevin loose in all aspects? We'll start with you, Mark.
I see no issues. Everything he said makes sense. Kevin can play to 1 through 5. He is a matchup problem for most people that he plays against. So to me, that's the easiest thing he has to do as a coach. Just let KD be KD. Especially coming off of an injury, and he's had a lot of time to rehab, with what's going on with the season this year, and them, Silver even coming out and saying that they may not even start next season until next year. So he has a lot of time to, rehab and be 100%, which I'm pretty sure he probably already is because he's a machine, but I don't see any issues. Like, that's got to be the easiest part of Steve Nash's job coming up.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm just excited to see what he does with that group. Like Octavia said, you pretty much can't go wrong with allowing KD to just be let loose. I mean, like, especially with the way the league is going now, like, it's not a whole lot of banging and all that type of stuff down low. So, if a situation comes where he's playing the 5, that's going to be a problem for the opposing team. And, he's improved defensively as well. So it's not like they're just going to be able to try to pick on him no matter who the big is on the other side. But yeah, I mean, if you got a Swiss Army knife, use all the tools, and yeah, I just think Steve Nash already being familiar with KD, working with him up close and personal with the Warriors, he probably has some predetermined things that he wants to do with him and try to just expand his game, beyond what he's already done. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Like I said, I'm just excited to see what he does with that group and how he goes about it as head coach.
Wilson.
Man, look, you're the coach of the counter to everything, all the fun stuff people have in the league. That's what you're the coach of. You got to go bear problem. Hey, come here, out here at 30 feet, deep water. Come here, buddy. Man, AD going off. Go stop that, AD. It's just going to be fun. What he did during this to go to state. Like, to me, it's just kind of like with her going to go to state, kind of locking some things for the those 2 snipers. Steve gets a chance to just unlock another level of Kevin, and then the fun part is kind of hitting an easy button for everybody over there. You kind of got like the big joker. You get to slam down on the table and be like, that's my answer for a lot of different things. So it should be fun, and I'm anxious to see how everybody, the rest of the pieces deal with playing around them, which is it's not going to be hard, but yeah, I'm just excited to see it, I guess.
But no doubt, man. I think I listened to the podcast, and Nash kind of, for people that may not know, he would work with the Warriors, skill development I think every year KD was there. So, he got a good look at, how KD worked and everything he really brought, because I feel like he really got unleashed on the Steve Kerr. You know what I mean? It happened in the finals. Just playing every position. He played a 5 in different spurts, and that was just a nightmare lineup, with him at the 5, Draymond at the 4. They had Livingston, Iguodala at the 3, and then Clay and Steph. There was nothing nobody could do, man. So unleash, and that was in the West, where obviously it's been deeper, but unleashing them in the East to do all that, where you might see times where Giannis and Embiid will have to go out there and defend them, and that's not an easy win, especially for a traditional center like Embiid. It's going to create so many matchup nightmares. And then, even defensively, they get the stop. He getting a rebound. He can bring it up. And that's just automatically mismatch, because centers are taught to run basket to basket. So I'm excited to see what he does and how creative he can be with the Nets roster, man, because they got some pieces. They got a lot of versatility with that team. Next up, Deon Sanders, Coach Jackson State. Sanders replaces John Hendrick, whose contract was not renewed this summer after going 6-9, 5-5 in the SWAC. Sanders will begin coaching this spring after the SWAC postponed fall sports because of COVID. The Tigers plan to begin an 8-game schedule in February. He takes over the Tigers program that has produced Hall of Famers such as Walter Payton, Lynn Barney, Jackie Slater, and Robert Brazil. How long do you think it would take for Deon to have them at the top of the SWAC? We'll start with you, Raymond.
I probably one recruiting class, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like you get a guy like that at a school, and people want to flock. And if we know anything about Deon Sanders, we know he's about putting on the show. And I'm pretty sure he's going to do everything he can to turn things around very quickly. He's a super competitive guy. So yeah, it's like as soon as he's able to get some folks in there, then I think it'll be a quick turnaround. He's obviously has tons of football knowledge and experience. So yeah, man, I think this thing will get going pretty quickly. It's exciting to see, especially with so much conversation surrounding high profile African American athletes going to HBCUs. I'm pretty sure this will jumpstart that. And who knows, it might be a domino effect where other high profile players start to take these type of jobs. But yeah, this might get fun real quick for him.
Wilson.
I think it'd take 2 recruiting classes till they're at the top of the SWAC. Just give it enough time. The first recruiting class should be straight. I think I'm banking on that second class. That's where I think you're going to get some of the top guys, like the very top guys, because not only is it just it's prime, but we saw some of the stuff with this coaching staff today. Some of it was bad reporting. It wasn't true, but bottom line, I do have faith that the type of knowledge you'll be able to get there, if your goal is the NFL, is going to be crazy. Secondly, you're going to get more exposure than a typical HBCU just because he's there. It's a good situation because even if it's a bigger school, you can literally look at a bigger school and that staff and be like, depending on the position you're in, and we'll see when Deon, we find out his whole staff. Depending on what position you play or whatnot, like I know off top, if you're a corner, just period, you're gonna be thinking like that. I can go pick Prime's brain. I can go get tutelage from Prime. that's a selling point some Power 5 schools just won't have. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I think it'll take 2 classes.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm kind of like you guys, either 1 or 2. I think maybe 2 just because of the pandemic and we don't know how long it's going to last. And you don't know how many like high school teams are actually going to be able to play this year and get film and stuff like that. So I think it could take a little bit of time just because of that. But like Wilson said, if you have a chance to play for Deon Sanders, knowing that he played the position that you play, like it's a no-brainer. Like, can you imagine him walking into your house to help to recruit you? Like, it's crazy. And hopefully it is a trickle effect where maybe more notable previous players who have coaching aspirations do start going to HBCUs and bringing other kids, making them want to play at an HBCU. Hopefully that works out and it's a trickle effect, but it's definitely great for him. And like Wilson was talking about, the notable names that were suspected to be on his coaching staff, even though he did come out and say that that list that came out was false. I can only imagine the type of caliber players, coaches that he's going to have on his staff. So, a kid could kill to learn from the likes of Sanders and anybody that he considers that has a good football mind, meaning that he would bring them in to his situation. It'll be a good thing for any player. So I definitely think maybe around 1 or 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 1. But like was said, on the safe side, I would say 2, just because of everything that's going on now.
Oh yeah, I'm with y'all. It shouldn't take long. He may not be the deepest talent pool, but I just think because of his pedigree, and his experience, a lot of people just looking at it from what he did as a player. He's been coaching high school for years, man, putting in work. You know what I mean? Like, he's been so. That's one thing I respect about him. He ain't just come in and be like, on prime time, Deon Sanders, Hall of Fame, and give me the job. It's like, nah, that's who I was as a player, but this is what I've done as a coach, and this is why I feel I'm qualified for the job. And that's how he approaches it. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be Deon, but he also got humility with him, which keeps him working. And even as a player, he's a worker. The spotlight overshine that. And I think that's where a lot of kids, a lot of parents, when he recruits and go in living rooms, I think that's what's gonna tell a lot of parents, because obviously prime time is gonna get them in the door, but Deon Sanders is gonna still sell what he's bringing, and that's when the parents like, you got to go. And obviously with the NFL pedigree, and I give the NFL credit, this is one thing they have over the NBA. They don't stay stuck on names, or with programs and stuff like that. They go to the ends of the earth to find talent. And if you good and they feel you good, they draft you. And the NBA kind of, stick with the good old boy networks and, the usual suspects, and miss out on a lot of talent. We see it every year. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I love about the football. They and the NBA always wasn't like that. They was, back in the day, they would sign you off a street ball game if you busted up an NBA player back in the 70s. So, I feel like the NBA kind of need to get back to that a little bit. I ain't saying to sign any old body, but if they got talent and bring them in and let them battle, that's the least you could do for some of the, you know what I mean, in training camp and see what they got. You know what I mean? With that being said, I think just everything he bringing, I think he'll need a couple years. Obviously, he's not going to just turn over the entire roster, maybe even more than 2 years, because one thing is you can bring in talent, but you got to teach them how to win. You know what I mean? And that's just something that can't be taught overnight. It's going to take time. You know what I mean? So I think with him forcing the players to put in the work, obviously, depending on his staff, bringing in guys that are knowledgeable about football. And, Deon, more than just a football coach, he's a guy that'll pull you to the side and talk to you about life. You know what I'm saying? Which will make his players want to go through a wall even more for him. And it would translate to win. So I give him about 2 or 3 years where, they rumbling. You know what I mean? And I expect to see him around these parts, the DMV. Like you said, he went dog. He ain't hard to find. This is a fertile area as far as football and basketball. You know what I mean? So I expect to see him around trying to recruit and get that thing up the par. Because like you said, the NFL gonna come regardless, man. You good, they hollering. It don't take much. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and then just the last little bit, like you said, NFL is going to come regardless. It's even easier for them to come when someone's network is their network in the league too. It's different folks you can bring in. it's bigger than who's literally on staff. You know what I'm saying? The folks that could come in and visit, things like that. You think like Mayok's not going to just drop by when he wants to or something like that? Like, but did you have anything else, Cardell?
And the excitement he's gonna bring the, like you said, the HBCUs, the games. Like, think about it. We might put up on ESPN, see at Jackson State SWAC games, on like prime time games, just to see what he's doing, which will be big for HBCUs. That, like, it's bigger than that. Like, I heard they playing in a 66,000 seat stadium. You know what I mean? And we in Maryland, covering Maryland, you know, Bird Stadium or whatnot. I mean, Captain One Field, whatever you call it, and their arena bigger than that, you know, bigger than Maryland's, and Maryland in the Big Ten. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just, it's gonna be fun to see, man. Especially if they start winning. Man. If they start winning, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, especially in this age too. Social media, they get going. It's the recruitment's going to do it. It's gonna do itself. You know what I'm saying?
All the entrance, dog.
I was about to say he already.
Hey, I finished up at Bowie State, man. You just walk around campus. It's like a concert, just break out in the middle of the, like, what? Hey, you know, it's you only get that at HBCU. It's fun, man. It's just
That's it.
All right, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We truly appreciate it, guys. Thanks again to Dylan Edwards for spending time with us tonight. Definitely enjoyed talking to the young man. You know, we got through a lot tonight. We're going to get through even more next week. Hope you guys enjoy the games that are going on tonight. I know I'm going to have a couple games on different screens. I think the Aces just won game 2, so that series is 1-1. And then also, as always, get over to the Focus TV on all social media mediums. And then don't forget, Friday night, DC TV, the Focus TV. Also, get over to DC TV. The show airs outside of just 10 p.m. as well. So get on their site, get on their site and check out all their show times in case you guys can't catch it at 10 p.m. So we see you guys soon. You guys have a great night.